Welcome to the Cosmic Echoes. So great to see you, Sue. Sorry about my voice.
Yeah,
Um,
what's happened to it?
it's travels. A
Yeah.
week, quick zip to South Africa and a quick zip back
Whoa.
takes its toll. Um, but
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm so glad to chat to you today.
Yeah. Gosh. Well, with all sorts of things are happening in the world, aren't they? Oh my goodness me, where do
Yeah.
we start? Yeah, I think it'd be good to look at the moons again for December
Yes.
because they're quite strong at the
Yeah.
moment. Yes, purely because the full moon in on December the 4th is square the nodes, and that's always
Ah.
stuffies going on there. So I'm interested in how that is going on. So anyway, yes,
And it's
let's
in Gemini. And
yes,
Gemini can
let's
be quite an
pile
interesting
in.
fellow.
Well, what's interesting is the full moon definitely is in Gemini, so therefore ruled by Mercury, which is in Scorpio. So there's a Gemini Scorpio ruler. I think there's going to be a lot more stuff coming out.
Mm,
And
mm,
also there is this very strong Uranus vibe going on as well, because um it's not opposite, but it's very impactful because you've got Uranus at 28 degrees Taurus, it's retrograde, and then
yeah.
it's definitely waving at the moon. The moon's at 13 degrees Gemini. So I'm interested in that, and I think there's going to be, shocks and surprises, isn't it? Because it's
Mm,
right opposite the ruler of the of this full moon. So as I said, the ruler is Mercury. So Mercury's right opposite Uranus,
yeah.
waving
And
at the moon
Saturn just went direct yesterday,
yesterday.
which is
And I
a closing, I think, closing of
oh
some
well,
things.
it's it's coming to the end now. It's going to be
Yeah,
coming to the end of the whole zodiac. So
yeah,
it's a huge, and then it's going to meet with uh Neptune at 0
yeah.
degrees Aries. This is all next year, which is next year is hugely impactful because
Yeah.
there's going to be massive shifts into Earth and far. All the outer planets will finally settle because they're all
Mm,
retrograde and doing all sorts of funny things
mm.
this year. This is why it's been such a weirdly hodgepodge year, and quite sort of it's always felt to me like it's sort of like jazz, dis dysfunctional, not
Yeah,
dysfunctional jazz,
yeah.
but
It's
jazz
all
that
over the place.
all over the place. It just feels like that.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, I think there's going to be more, I mean, lots more revelations coming out about Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh,
I
yeah.
definitely about that. I don't know where that will go
Mm,
to, but I think the people, that's the moon is in a mundane chart is always representative of the people. The people
mm.
want to know the facts.
Yeah, no, it's being dragged out and it's trying to
Yeah.
be hidden and it's trying to
Yeah,
be hidden.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
And also there is this tension as well because the we've got uh, Saturn, which has just gone direct. It's
Mm,
squaring Mars at the moment. So there's going to be these, Mars is in Sagittarius, so these mutables, and obviously the Sun is in Sagittarius.
yeah.
Venus is in Sagittarius. So there's a lot of Sagittarian
Mm,
influence as well playing out with this new moon.
mm.
Sagittarius, it also, it's about, I want to, it's also, I want to know, I want, what's going on out there, what's the
Yeah.
truth, what's
Yeah.
the belief system that's going on here.
Mm,
And if it's square Saturn, there'll be frustrations and tensions coming, but it's all about, because they're both immutable signs, it's
mm.
very much about transitioning, it's about adaptability, but it's about also it's communication. Immutable
Which is
signs want
Gemini and
to
Sagittarius.
sorry?
Yeah. Which is very much Gemini, isn't
Yeah,
it? Where this moon
absolutely.
is now.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I think there's going to be lot more shocking
Mm.
Maybe not shocking, actually. We'll go, well, I knew that.
But open. Yeah, open.
Yeah,
I
I
see
do.
there's
Yeah.
also, I think we talk about it a little bit every now and then about this feminine,
Yes.
power. But I see some of these Epstein um, victims are standing up and saying, hang on a minute, we can publish things too, and we
Yeah.
also have a
Yeah.
voice. And I
Yes.
think this is becoming a theme in itself as to this this supporting aspect between the feminine and the masculine. Instead
Yeah.
of the masculine running forward, the feminine can bring it back and say, we can do this together. And I also have a
Yes.
voice in this.
Well, yes. And I think I know stand back. The revelations. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
We'll
difficult
just have to wait and
situation.
see. But what's interesting is that Mars is in a closing square. So it makes an aspect, a conjunction with Saturn every 2 years, because Mars
Yeah.
has this 2 year cycle. So this is the end, this last square, which is we're going to be experiencing on the 4th of December. It's a
Mm,
closing square. So it's very tense. It's like what do we need to pay attention to that isn't it isn't quite there, or it's this frustrations, tension, and it's all
mm,
sitting on this, what is the truth?
yeah.
So I'm interested in that. I'm really interested in that. um yeah, the closing story.
And Mercury is also going direct today. So there's still a
Yes,
bit of
yes,
shadow still happening
yeah,
into this
yeah.
4th of December,
Yes,
I suppose.
absolutely. Yeah.
Mm.
So we'll just have to wait and see, but it's all feeding into next year. All of this. It's
And
setting
I'd
up.
love to hear your thoughts on this because we're going from the year of the serpent in
Yeah.
Chinese astrology,
Yes.
and we're going into the year of the fire horse. So
Yes.
it's quite a difference in movement. It feels like
Yeah.
there's like we shed a lot this year, or maybe in my life,
Yeah.
I've shed a lot. Um,
Yeah.
and there's been a lot of kind of not, well, transformation in a way, in perspective. And perhaps this fire horse symbolizes more of a movement forward in a direction, which could symbolize, this Saturn. I think it's only in January, 29th of January. Um, it goes, is it Neptune goes direct on the 10th of
Yeah.
December. And then I think it's Saturn moves into,
Well, yeah, it turned so it's December the 10th. Oh, hang on a second. Let me just get me those. So that's next year, actually. So
mm,
so where we're going to be going, what's going to be happening is Mars and Saturn meet in April next year. That's the
okay,
close of their cycle. That's
okay,
it. So
yeah,
whatever is setting up now, whatever the tension is, it's something is going to come to a conclusion. It's the
mm,
ending and the beginning of a new cycle, and of course that will be in Aries. Mars likes
okay.
being in Aries. So there's some I really hope that we're not looking at something, aggressive here.
Yeah,
I'm
because
really hoping
Neptune
that
also
that's
enters Aries. It's the 26th
yes,
of January
yes,
that I was thinking of,
absolutely.
is
Yes,
when
yeah,
Neptune
yeah,
enters
yeah,
Aries,
yeah.
which is,
And they
yeah,
and they all will be talking with each other.
yeah,
So Saturn will have moved away from Neptune by April, when
yeah.
Mars conjuncts it, but Mars will have to conjunct Neptune first before it
Okay.
meets up. Yeah. So there's going to be lots of Mars energy here in
Ooh,
Aries.
ooh,
We'll have to wait and see how
that's
it
very
comes up.
fiery.
It's fiery, but don't
Mm,
forget Neptune is all about water and
mm,
the sea and the ocean, and it could be to do with trade. If
Mm.
you think about, the oceans, what's happening. The pirates have
Mm.
all gone very quiet, but I don't know. It's such a huge year next year. I think we'll just look at the 20th of January, which is the new moon in 20th of December, sorry, the
December,
new moon.
yes.
So the new moon is in Sagittarius
Yeah.
at 28 degrees, so it's the right at the end. So
Mm.
there is this sense of something ending, and it's in Sagittarius. Again, it's this very strong, what is the truth? Where are we going with this? And
Mm.
again, it's square Saturn. So Saturn is playing a huge role in both the full moon and
Mm.
the new moon. This tension, Saturn and Neptune, this tension about what what is the truth. Neptune, it can be very chaotic, it can be full of illusions and delusions, and
Mm.
Sagittarius is going, well, what is it? So what's coming up from the
Yeah.
surface? And I think this will be Saturn just going, okay, let's get real.
Yeah, because it's
Let's
father
get
father
real. Yeah,
time has
yeah,
spoken and we need to
yeah,
sort this out
yeah.
now.
And
Yeah.
it may be that we don't see clearly, but when
Mm.
when somebody's lying to you, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't even have to say anything, and you just get
Mm.
it. And I think that's what's going to be coming up, or we're
Yeah.
being this sense of something isn't being said, something
Mm.
huge is being repressed, or we there
Mm.
is this it's a denial. So it's something here. And also,
Mm.
again, if we've got Venus square um Saturn, and Venus in Sagittarius is out in the world. So again, it could be something to do with the markets, Venus money, Saturn going, there could be utter chaos in the markets, the
Yeah.
global markets.
Mhm.
There's certainly, I just want to go back to the full moon on December the
Right.
4th, because the full moon in Gemini squares the nodes.
Mm.
So there is something here about destiny playing a part, and the
Mm.
nodes are the north node is in Pisces, and the south node is in Virgo. So there is something here. Mm, I don't know. Again, this sort of something coming to light. The moon saying, "What is it? What are the facts? What are the facts?"
Mm.
And I think with this squaring, this is traditionally this is a step that we're playing out, but it's
Yeah.
definitely going to be playing out next year, whatever comes up in this new moon and this full moon,
Mm.
and then going into this new moon. It's it's kind of feeling like, I don't know. It's it's sort of like this. And we're moving into Capricorn season as well. So this is about earth, traditions, establishment. Capricorn they want to build things, they want to
Mm.
create structures, they want long-term goals, and we're descending into the underworld. It really
Oh
is this.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
the whole Persephone, I really love that story.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think the whole concept of what the of what we've done to the planet,
Mm.
the guilt and the shame of what we've done to the planet is going to come up. And I think that could be, it's coming up from such a depth
Mm.
that I think we're going to have to face that what we've done. And we're not
Mm.
facing it. We're just not. We're
No,
not.
no.
But I think we've run out of options.
Well, I had very interesting conversations with Uber drivers over the past
Oh
week.
yeah. Yeah.
And they were, because it was the G20 was happening in South
Yeah.
Africa when we were there. So there were leaders from everywhere. And obviously, America didn't want to come, and big drama because apparently South Africa isn't worthy. And now South Africa hasn't been invited to next year's G20, but America can't actually invite because South Africa, big dramas. But it's all about trade as well. And this Uber driver, I can't remember, I think his name was I can't remember now. Beautiful, Kagiso was his name. Beautiful guy. And we were talking, we had to drive about 40 minutes. So he was telling us how important it is from an African perspective for us to keep our resources close to home and produce at home. Because he says he watched people chop a tree down and put the tree in a container and ship it over to China so that they can go and process, make cheap stuff out of it. And that is wrong. And I agree
Yes.
completely.
Yeah.
The tree belongs there and the
Yeah.
people know how
Yes.
to
Yes.
carve it or, make things from it. But
Yeah.
we've been so industrialized as to these Timu and Sheins and things that are just consumer oriented. It's not about the value of these natural resources anymore. So I'm hoping that Kagiso will be heard as well in his wisdom of,
Yeah.
keeping these natural resources and having the communities use them and create from them instead of sending them to a factory where a machine does it.
Well, do you know the new moon in Sagittarius? Sagittarius is about truth and justice. What
Mm,
is just
mm,
and taking responsibility. And this is when we move into Capricorn season. Capricorn takes responsibility.
yeah.
When it's in your chart, there is this sense of being utterly grounded. You have to
Mm,
you watch that you don't get completely embroiled in how it's always been, using it
yeah.
with wisdom. But
Yeah.
I just think I feel that these two moons in December are going to invite us to take responsibility for what we do to the planet.
Yeah.
There is no plan B. It's
No,
done. So
no.
that's that's how I that's how I interpret what's
Mm,
happening. And
mm.
within that, we're going to be, Pete, of course, we're going to have to face that humanity has stepped out of itself. It's stepped out of its integrity. And
Yeah.
we're all
Yeah.
responsible for bringing it back into integrity. But
Yeah.
that's a journey for us.
But there's so much empowerment in that journey, when we
Yes,
can be courageous enough to say,
yes,
not on my planet, kind of thing.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And
But
then
yeah,
both of this, Gemini and Sagittarius, are very curious. So they both want to find out more.
yes.
And obviously they're on the different sides of the zodiac. So it's quite they're also fire and air. Sagittarius is fire and
Yeah.
Gemini's air. So it's definitely an interesting
Well, Gemini
play.
wants the facts.
Mm,
I need to know the facts.
yeah.
But then Sagittarius's job is to turn that into meaning. So rather
Yes.
than just lots and lots of facts, you've got this huge
Yeah.
library. So what do we do with that information?
Yeah.
How do we use it well? And
Mm,
that's the justice, the moral justice
mm,
of Sagittarius stepping up.
yeah.
And I think oh God, I so hope this is true, that moral justice will start to increasingly play an important role in all our lives, and that all of us are going to have to look deep inside to say, what is moral justice now? Because it
Oh,
worked
yeah.
up until now. What we've created as moral justice hasn't worked. It just
No.
doesn't work. So how do we do that? How do we create our own communities where moral justice is at the heart of that?
And in that process, there's a lot of letting go of this right and wrong aspects
Yeah,
of, judging each other or putting each other into boxes as to this is how you should do it, because it doesn't work like that. There's no one size fits all when we have a soul's journey, when we can identify with that soul's journey. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So, and we actually, before we started recording, we were talking about guilt and shame,
Mm,
um, and how it's pulverizing when you live with guilt and shame. It's almost
yeah.
like it's I need to have, I don't want to walk into that
Yeah.
pain and of I've been wrong. What I did
Mm,
was wrong, or
yeah.
I am wrong because that's what I did. But
Yeah.
I think that all of us are going to have to at some point walk into the guilt and shame of the way we have behaved as
Mm,
human beings on
mm,
a very, very precious resource, and
mm,
put ourselves first. And I
yeah.
don't believe that's the role of being human. I think the traditional role, which of course the ancients knew, and
Yeah.
of course the tribal cultures know, is we're here to take care of the planet, and the planet comes first for future generations. But we've
Yeah.
completely dissed that.
Yeah, but there's for me there's this symbiotic relationship that we've missed, and I'm not a very big fan of religion, so I'm sorry that I put it out there. But in
Yeah.
in these religious beliefs and teachings, there's often an element of I have given you this to use instead of we are
Yeah.
here to be supported and support. So Gaia, the earth, supports us so that we can support her. Um,
Yeah.
and it's not a one directional thing. It's not just I'm looking after you, she's also looking after us. And if we mess with that balance, then we create a big problem.
Which we have.
Yeah,
Oh,
which you have.
I've just written an article which is going to go into the Astrological Journey journal about Pluto in Aquarius. Now,
Yeah,
everybody's been talking about Pluto in, especially out of bounds, Pluto in
yeah.
Aquarius. Technology, revolution, humanitarian stuff. Absolutely signed up for that. But
Mm,
because I'm so interested in the whole concept of death and dying,
mm,
I was looking at the history of Pluto out of bounds going back to the medieval days. And every time Pluto is out of bounds, we are forced, literally, Pluto says you have to pay attention to death.
mm,
Your relationship with death is the pivotal um, uh, sort of understanding of life itself.
mm.
You deny death, you deny life. And
Yeah.
that's what we're doing because we're spending billions on staying looking young. Billions. The trillionaires are spending, I mean, untold amounts of money to try and actually stop the dying process, to turn life back. So we're trying to, or some people are trying to literally rewrite the rules of what it means to be human. Now that's very Pluto in Aquarius.
Yeah.
Very. So it's digging up everything to do with death, our understanding of death, our relationship with death. And I think death is going to become hugely central to our understanding of life, because if we have trashed the planet, we are going to
Mm.
have to face the possibility of extinction. We are.
Yeah.
We are. I mean, there's God knows how many species going extinct every day. And
Yeah.
it's something that nobody wants to talk about.
Yeah. And yet in
Pluto's
this
going to make us face
conversation,
that fear.
yeah, in that conversation, there's also the aspect of the soul,
Yeah.
that the soul isn't dying. There's something else happening, and we have different um, ideas of this in different spaces, in different places. But I think the consistent thing is that this this dying process has to also take into account that the soul is carrying on in whichever way makes sense to you. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
But the ego has to die. The humanity of what we've done has
yeah,
to die. It has to. We cannot go on like this. We
no,
will not have a planet to incarnate on. We just won't.
yeah,
Or not, or the planet will be so alien to us, we
mm,
won't be able
can't
to
survive.
incarnate.
Yeah,
So, and I think that this is the job of Pluto in Aquarius
mm,
for the next 20 years. It will be a
mm,
very strong, slow process because Pluto doesn't move fast.
No.
It's a planetary transformation, and I think
Yeah.
we're going to be facing fundamental understanding of what mortality really is about, and the
Mm.
responsibility of what mortality is. And I welcome that because it's
Oh,
time.
me too.
Really
And
welcome
in
that.
yeah, and in that there's a lot of letting go,
Yes,
around these structures that
yes,
um I've recently experienced quite a bit, with people passing and the rules. Children aren't supposed to go to the funeral, and we can't talk about it, and it's hidden. We can't hide these things. It is part of who we are. It's part of
yes,
our cycle.
yes,
And it creates so much fear. Earlier we were also talking about this kind of Maslow's aspect of Maslow, and in this fear of even death, we're keeping ourselves in this you know space of survival. If I can just stay younger, or if I can just live until I'm 100 or whatever it is, then, but in that process you're not living because you're constantly in fear of dying,
yes,
which is
absolutely.
everything that you work around. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm.
That's exactly it. We have to. And through the research I was doing, I reminded myself about Alice Bailey's teaching.
Yeah.
She was one of the people that created the Theosophical
Yes.
movement. And it's not exactly her words, but they are this is basically what she was saying, that humanity cannot evolve until it's lost its fear of death. And one
Mm.
of the greatest uh what's the word for it, so damage that we've done to ourselves as a cult, as a species,
Yeah.
is to impregnate ourselves with this terror of death. The terror,
Mm.
I am so important, I'm not going to die. Well, sorry mate, you can't cheat evolution. You can't.
Yeah.
And you see people, these lovely people who've got Botox and God knows what in their faces. God bless them for doing it. But guess what? They're still getting older because you can't cheat
Yeah.
evolution. You just,
No.
it's not
No.
possible. So it's up to you to look how you want to look. But in my understanding of my journey, and I think, we're really signed up for this, I use Pluto for preparing me for
Mm.
my death, for
Yeah.
my ending of this physical experience. And
Mm.
I don't know what's going to come next, and the soul will do whatever it needs to do. But I
Mm.
want to reach my deathbed going, well, you did the best you could,
Yeah. Yeah.
without and not having the shame and guilt.
Yeah. Or recognizing it as shame
Yes,
and guilt, but also recognizing that soul's journey as to
yes,
this was part of my journey that I had to overcome. Um,
yes,
and owning the fact that we get older, especially women. It's so sad for me to realize that we're so harsh on ourselves when we get older. A 20-year-old and a 40-year-old and a 60-year-old and an 80-year-old bodies all look different, but these are that's how it's supposed to be. And with the gray hair comes the wisdom,
yeah,
often,
yes,
not always, but often. And there's such a space of claiming that, especially for women. We go through this transition around this time in my life, at least, 50s, whatever, where owning that wise woman aspect is so empowering, but it's been so dismissed as, you know, that she's just hormonal, or, she's
yeah,
just,
yeah, yeah,
or whatever it is. And to be able to own each of these eras or stages of our physical development, because I think the soul has done different journeys. So this one is not aging necessarily, it's just growing the soul, but the body ages as a
well,
natural part. Yeah.
I do remember when I was 50,
Mm.
51, 52, 53. So yeah, I had my menopause around about that's the average age,
Yeah.
53.
Yeah.
And I do remember looking in the mirror and going, oh my God, there's another line, and being overwhelmed with sadness
Yeah.
and grief at the loss of my youth. And
Mm.
my beauty as a young woman
Mm.
who was bleeding, and all of that, and the glossy hair, and
Yeah.
all of that, and being whistled out after, in the street, because that's what
Yeah.
used to
Yeah.
happen in those days. And I mean,
Yeah.
however much you know, and it was kind of, I shouldn't say that, but it was kind of like, somebody noticed me. Ooh. I mean, you're not allowed to do that nowadays, but in those days, it was kind of part of the
Yeah.
deal. And then it stopped. And I
Mm.
remember thinking, oh my God, I've just become invisible. I remember it
Yeah.
so well. And
Mm.
then that transition of 10 years in the 50s of
Mm.
being a woman. And then I remember waking up one morning thinking I must have been edging 60,
Mm.
right at the end of my 50s, thinking, do you know what? I'm through the menopause. And then boom, my entire life opened up.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
extraordinary.
It is extraordinary. And
Absolutely
yeah,
extraordinary.
it's so sad that we don't guide each other through this so much. When we were living together in a tribal, where there were generations living together and learning from each other, it was a natural thing. Now it's hidden. It's like, oh, um, yeah, it's not spoken about as much, and it's such a beautiful transition if we
Yeah.
realize it's coming, I suppose.
It's wonderful. Well,
Mm.
Alex Pope from the Red School, she does a lot of work around this, about
Yeah.
encouraging women to understand that the menopause it's not the end, it's the beginning.
Mm.
And I work with a lot of clients around about the age of 50, because they kind of get feeling lost. They don't know where they're going anymore, a lot of women.
Yeah.
Um, and then talking to them about the whole beauty of menopause, which is
Mm.
about stepping into the very first steps of what wisdom, turning all the knowledge that you've
Yeah.
got into what wisdom really is.
Yeah.
And it's an extraordinary process. And
Mm.
my son said, he lives in America, and he sent me a photograph, a little video, and he was at a gathering, and
Mm.
this woman, he was behind. He's a filmmaker. He was behind filming this group, and she
Yeah.
turned round, and I guess she must have been in her 30s,
Mm.
and her face was full of filler,
Oh, wow.
and she looked just like everyone else who's had a face full of filler. And it
Yeah.
just made me feel so sad for her. It just
Mm.
made me, and I just sent a prayer to her.
Yeah.
I hope
Yeah.
that you'll find your wisdom.
Mm. Yeah. There's a dissonance, isn't there? Once we go there, where the external becomes that important. I mean, it
Yeah.
is a adjustment to move from
Oh, it's
the
huge.
good-looking young woman to the older woman that, is more
Yeah.
wise,
Yes.
because it's not
Yes.
seen, and society isn't is it the right word?
No.
They're not looking up to the wise older people anymore. And I wish we could. I wish we could integrate, the children and the elderly, or not elderly, just older people again together. But there's so much migration. There's so much disconnect and loneliness on the planet. So,
Oh, the loneliness of the long
mm,
distance runner. Life, what I'm really connecting with it, how relentless life is. I'm just going to
yeah,
move to the sun. I find that really interesting, that life carries on whatever, and
yeah,
whatever we do to try and cheat it or pretend it isn't happening, or life every day rolls into the next day.
mm, yeah.
It is about being present in the day. And
Mm.
I used to think, I used to listen to these teachers going, the future's the future and the past the past, but where you need to be is in the present. And I've only managed now to be present because I'm as old as I am.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
literally, and I was at in a meditation the other day with a group of
Mm.
people, and the meditation was, you're in this particular place, and there's going to be a symbol about your future, how you want your future to be, what you want to create for your future. And it came to me so strongly. My future's now.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
isn't about tomorrow because what I do today will create what I do tomorrow. And I
Yeah.
don't want to be thinking about a future that isn't here. I want to be so present about
Mm.
creating a future that works for me rather than
Yeah.
living in
Yeah.
la la land.
Yeah, and there's choice involved. It's just
Yeah.
like you talk about, you know, living or wearing your mortality with pride, is that aspect of choosing how I am in life and how I enter the next stage of death.
Yes.
So yeah, choice is
Yeah.
such a important thing for us. I think we forget sometimes, and we give it away to medical systems or to whatever it is, fear, news, listening to the news, all those things.
Oh, we give our power away hugely in the Western
Yeah,
culture, enormously. And I think the only time that we will stop doing that is when we create our own communities and we absolutely
yeah,
roll up and show up in those communities
yeah,
with whatever role that we actually can offer.
yeah,
In I mean, oh, I mean, look at the NHS. It's full of people who've just said, "Oh, well, you know better than me about who I am and what I need." No, we
no,
know what we need. We need support in help in in
yeah,
in finding a way through.
mm.
But no, it is we've just stopped taking responsibility.
Exactly. Because I mean,
That's
this
what
is
we've
also
done.
the society, the patriarchal system of looking up to authority, or I know
Yeah,
better, listen to me, follow me. That whole system, it doesn't work anymore. And I think that's also Pluto and
yeah.
Aquarius
Oh
moving us
gosh,
away
yeah.
from that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think it's going to be really important because the Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus are going to be making these amazing aspects, and they're the three outer planets. And this is about they're planets of generational and
Mm.
cultural massive um, kind of structural shifts into
Yeah.
air and fire.
Yeah.
So whatever we feel is being happening at the moment, and thinking, God, life is really moving quickly. Just strap
Yeah.
yourself in for next year. And I think there's going to be a deep collective generational energies that are going to really shunt us forward. And
Mm.
my prayer is that Pluto, the Lord of change and transformation, will lead the way in how we respond to ourselves. The
Mm.
deep fear about what what survival means.
Yeah.
And I think the only way we'll turn that around is by actually taking responsibility for the fact that we are for our mortality. Absolutely. Let's
Yeah.
the TEDx talk I did, which is
Yeah.
wear your mortality with pride. Be
Mm.
proud that you're here. Be proud that you're having this human experience.
Yeah.
Cool. But
Yeah.
there is a limit to it. And
Yeah.
is that is part of, I'm going to use a really weird experience thing, God's creation. I mean,
Yeah.
or the
Yeah.
light
Yeah.
creation, or the
Yeah.
dog with purple spots
Yeah.
creation. Um, but that is creation, and then
Yeah.
you know, get
Yeah.
prepared to leave and to leave this incredible experience with a sense of pride and
Mm.
knowing who you are.
In all of these stages, um,
Yes,
with presence,
yeah,
because yeah, there's so much regret and shame once we get older to,
yeah.
oh, I still want to be there and not
Yeah.
experiencing this part. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think that this is going to be very interesting, and we'll talk about this in much more in next month
Mm.
when we get together. But
Yeah.
certainly July is hugely important because there is a major Jupiter Pluto opposition on the
Uh,
20th of July, and I think this is going to be a significant completion or something. Don't know. Jupiter is in Leo. That's to do with the ego, to do with hubris, right
Mm,
opposite Pluto. That's going, you know what, mate? The humanity, we need to
yeah.
look at what humanity is and where we want to go as a humanity. I think that's going to kick off some really massive things about that. And Jupiter is going to be about belief and higher ideals. So I think there's going to be a massive tension between growing and expansion, and this Pluto dis destruction, but transformation. So I think there's going to be a crisis point
Mm,
in the middle of next year around that time, to do with faith and belief,
mm,
hubris, human hubris, and Pluto saying we have to do things differently. Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
a crisis and rebirth. I do
Mm,
feel that. It may be make or break at that time.
yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's, yeah, I just think we need to start preparing for that.
Mm, mm,
Yeah, huge moral dilemmas, moral choices. And I
yeah.
think, yeah, that's what I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel that the past few years have been preparing us, when
Yeah.
if we've been open for this,
Yes.
it's not a scary thing. It's just
Yeah. Bring it on.
embracing it.
We got to
Yeah,
do it,
yeah,
we have to prepare for our future generations to come and
yeah,
actually have a planet to live on,
exactly.
incarnate onto. I
Yeah.
mean, I hope we haven't been too, that a bit fear mongery, but I
No.
just think we are now beginning to approach a critical time, and all the astrologers are saying next year is this massive shift.
Mm,
We don't know how it's going to manifest, but my prayer is that we will start to really take responsibility for ourselves.
yeah. Because it is a beautiful planet we live on. It's a pretty
It
cool
is
one.
a beautiful planet. I'm looking
Yeah,
at my garden at the moment and going,
yeah.
whoa.
And you going on an amazing trip.
Yes.
You will see you'll see
Yeah.
my
Africa.
homeland.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this time in 3 weeks I'll be there. So I'm just, for anybody who's watching, I'm going to South Africa and up through Namibia, through Botswana, and then to Zambia.
Oh, that's going to be amazing.
Yeah,
You're going to love it so much. It's going to be
I know.
warm. You're going to have sunshine. I had the most beautiful thunderstorms when I was there
Oh,
in Hawaii.
really?
It was
Oh,
lovely.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to
And I
have
can't
that.
wait to hear about your
Yeah,
experience.
yeah, yeah. And we'll see you all in January. God,
Yes,
2026. Getting ready for the great shifts that are going to come.
yes, we are ready. We just need to
We're
embrace.
ready. Well, you and I are ready, that's for
We're
sure.
ready. Thank you
All
so
right,
much, Sue.
everybody. Oh,
We'll chat soon.
yeah.